So, welcome everyone to another Thursday live stream. We'll give a few minutes for people to trickle in. Um, I'm Gillian, for those I haven't met, and welcome back to those that I have. I've been doing these live streams now for a few weeks, and it's always lovely to gather in this group and share the practice together and answer any questions that you might have. So, hello, Vidhi, on LinkedIn. If whoever's joining, feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from. We have people on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So I'll be reading comments. Some of them you'll see on your own platform, but some might be coming in through somewhere else. So I am in Sweden, just outside of Stockholm. I'm from Toronto, and I'm very happy to be here. We tend to have people from all over the world join, so I would love to know where you're joining in from. And we will get started in a few minutes once more people have a chance to settle in. Vidhi on LinkedIn says, so excited for this, wonderful. Yeah, the title of today's practice is Permission to Pause. And I think that we could all give ourselves that permission more often than we do. So I hope this is a restorative and resetting and grounding practice for most of you. Hello, Vishwa on LinkedIn. Hello, Alexia. Tammy. Hello from coastal Connecticut. Jane is joining from Bermuda. Umardad is joining from Pakistan. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing some names correctly. And Vishwa is joining from India. Anna, excited, says, I'm literally in a New York City bus. Great. You can join from anywhere. We have another person on LinkedIn joining from California. I can't see your name. Hello, Rashid. I am doing well today. Looking forward to this practice. Catherine says, good morning. Joining from New Hampshire. Mustafa is joining from Turkey. Mark from Baton Rouge, LA. Anna says, reset for sure. Beautiful. Cheryl says hello from Florida. Michelle, good morning from Arkansas. Amoy says, hi everyone. She's joining us from New York. Alexia is from Michigan. Claudia is from Central Florida. So welcome to everyone, and you can keep sharing where you're from as you trickle in. People will be joining at various times, I'm sure, throughout this practice. And like always, I'll lead a guided meditation, and then we'll transition into a Q&A and time for sharing. So if you have a question, or if you simply want to share some reflections on how the practice was for you, then you can just share your thoughts, your questions in the comments or the chat section. Marlo is from Mississippi. Matsy's from South Africa. Wonderful. So we tend to have people from all over the world, and I think this is reflected as well in some of the comments today. Again, we have tends to be a lot of people joining on LinkedIn, and then there's some people as well on Facebook and YouTube. So just, I don't need to preface this practice too much, but I thought that today's session would be a nice opportunity just to give ourselves permission to pause. That might look or feel a bit different for each one of us, depending what we're taking pause from. But generally, there will be some commonality. It's, I guess, the invitation. My intention is to pause from doing. Whether that's mental or physical doing, striving, accomplishing, just letting ourselves just be. So Hello, Maureen from UK, LinkedIn user from Anaheim. Wonderful. So that's the intention for this practice. As always, I encourage you to take this practice as it suits you and do what you need to do to care for yourself. So, if at any time I offer an invitation that doesn't feel that it's most supportive for you or feels uncomfortable, you're more than welcome to shift your attention to anything else that would be grounding for you, or to practice self-compassion, or to open your eyes. Sometimes we need to reconnect with our environment. um, so yeah, please do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself during this practice. um, Hello, Lena in Latvia. Michael is in the USA. Jeanette is from Germany. Deb from Minnesota. So welcome. So again, you can let your questions and reflections filter in as they come to you or after the practice. But let's just settle right in. So for this practice, you're welcome to be seated or lying down. If you're lying down, I guess the invitation would be just to ensure that you are able to remain alert and present. Of course, if your body is needing deeper rest, then you are more than welcome to let your body guide you towards that. But if you'd like to stay present for this practice, then finding a position that is both relaxed but also alert. So maybe lengthening the spine and maybe just letting your shoulders drop, letting them soften. Your hands can rest either on your thighs, by your sides, or in your lap. And if it feels comfortable for you, or when you feel ready, you can just gently close your eyes or lower your gaze towards the floor. Maybe taking a couple of clearing breaths if that helps you, just to release the outside world for the moment. And we'll begin this practice by just taking some time to ground into the earth that's supporting us. So by grounding, we're not going anywhere or doing anything. We're just noticing that connection between our own body and the body of the earth. So just notice and feel into the points of contact between your body and the earth. Knowing that whatever you are seated or resting on is made of the earth. So it's almost as if you're letting your mind, your attention drop down towards the base of your body and just letting it rest in that contact point, or all those contact points between your body and the surface that holds you. And you can use this point of contact at any point during this practice to anchor the mind or just to reconnect with this present moment. So, in this practice, we're taking a posture of relative stillness. I say relative because the breath is always moving us, moving through us. And because I invite you to soften any perhaps expectations to remain perfectly still. The invitation is relative stillness, but if you need to make any adjustments at any point, I invite you to just do so with mindfulness. And then I invite you just to scan your awareness through your physical body from the crown of your head down towards your toes. And see if there's any parts of your body that might be asking to soften. So maybe softening the muscles in your forehead, your jaw, your shoulders, your hands or your belly. Just honoring your body by softening wherever it asks for softening in this moment. And maybe just resting back in that connection between your body and the surface beneath you. And again, the invitation for this practice is to grant ourselves permission to pause, to take a pause from doing, from solving, from trying to be something or someone. Maybe taking a pause physically and mentally. Not with force or judgment, but just offering ourselves that permission to pause and opening to what that's like. There is nothing you need to do, no one you need to be in this moment. Seeing if you can just offer yourself that space just to pause. And to do this, we might just let our attention rest within the breath. Just noticing that inward and outward flow of each breath. Not expecting anything of the breath. Not trying to make it move in any particular way. Just surrendering into that natural and effortless flow of the breath. Into and out of the body. Breathing with tenderness and with care for your experience. Resting in this sacred pause within your day. Just noticing what it feels like to pause. Noticing what it's like to give yourself permission to pause. knowing that yes, there is a time for activity and accomplishing and doing, but unless there is something that needs your attention right now, knowing that you can take pause, that you can give yourself the gift of this pause. Just noticing if the mind wanders at any time. And then coming back to the breath, gently, patiently, with compassion. Coming back to that gentle wave of breath that flows effortlessly into and out of your body. And seeing if you can savor this pause. If there is gratitude for this pause. And gratitude for yourself for taking the time to pause. For giving yourself permission to pause. Even if the mind has wandered, as being distracted, savoring those moments of just coming back to this present moment, to this breath, to this breath, to this breath. And maybe taking a moment to rest your hands on your heart, either in prayer position or just palms facing down, bowing your head slightly. And perhaps silently repeating, may I give myself more moments of pause. May I give myself more moments of pause. Taking just a few more breaths into your heart space, into your hands if they're resting on your heart. Reconnecting with the surface beneath your body. And slowly opening your eyes whenever you're ready. So thank you all for that practice, for sharing that practice with me. Um, I would love to know how that went for you. If you feel like sharing your comments in the comment or chat section on whatever platform you're streaming on. And giving yourself, of course, all the time you need to come back. So in this practice, we focused on the breath, but also just on our experience of taking pause. And for each one of us, that might have been a bit different. Maybe the pause that we really needed was physical pause. Maybe the pause was pause from doing or achieving or trying to be something or someone. Maybe it was, generally speaking, from the ruminations of the mind, the thinking mind. Um, and this practice is not about forcing ourselves to stop thinking or to push away or shun any thoughts, any planning or ruminating or any activity of the mind. Um, but often, just by giving ourselves permission to pause, we we naturally find ourselves, our activity, our mental activity, our physical activity slowing down. Um, so I hope that was helpful for you. As a prompt, if you feel like sharing, I would love to know um, what you felt like you might have been taking a pause from, um, if you feel called to share that. If it was just a general pause, sinking into non-doing, or if there was something specific you were allowing yourself just to step back from and sink into this moment. Um, so Cheryl said that was wonderful. Thank you. I'm very glad you liked it, Cheryl. Thank you for joining. Sue said relaxing. Beautiful. Um, you know, often these practices are very relaxing. Um, but I also want to acknowledge, for anyone who might have done this practice, or for those that maybe felt it wasn't relaxing, um, that whatever your experience of this practice was in this moment is entirely valid and welcome. Often when we give ourselves time to pause, we things come up. So often we distract ourselves from difficult emotions or matters in our lives that need tending to. And often when we take time to pause from doing, from achieving, from accomplishing, these things can surface. And so for some, it's definitely a very relaxing and soothing invitation. And for others, it can be quite challenging. But Sue, I'm very glad to hear that it was relaxing for you. Um, Michael on LinkedIn said there was something special in the simplicity of the practice. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very glad you enjoyed it. And I appreciate that word simplicity, and I'm glad that you found it to be simple. Um, because really taking pause should be simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. We don't need to do all these things. I guess in a way that would sort of be defeating the purpose of taking pause from doing. Um, so yeah, the intention was to keep it as simple possible, but also to offer those reminders. Some of us at different times in our lives, depending what we're going through or what our personal meditation practice is, sometimes we need more cues to come back, to rest, to pause, to tune in to this moment. So the cues can be helpful, but we don't need to overcomplicate it. And if we're doing this type of practice by ourselves, we can also keep it super, super simple. Just noticing the breath or grounding into the surface beneath us. I find grounding practices, just noticing our connection to the earth, very, very helpful for quieting the mind, just for giving myself a break from the often incessant stream of thoughts. Um, Karen said, taking a pause from all the doing to just be. Beautiful. Yeah. I think for me, anyways, that was kind of the core of the practice, a break from doing. But again, doing can be physically, outwardly um, achieving things or striving for things, but it can also be the doing that goes on in our thinking mind, in our thoughts. Um, overthinking can tire us out just as much as overexertion can. And so, by giving ourselves permission to pause, we give ourselves permission to rest, both um, emotionally and physically and energetically. And our energetic body is made up of thoughts and our physical body. So just energetically taking a pause, to ground, to be, is certainly the invitation. So I'm glad that that resonated with you and that's what came up for you. Um, Someone on LinkedIn, I can't see your name, is hidden from me for some reason on this streaming platform I'm on, but someone on LinkedIn said, "Thank you for guiding us during this practice. I feel energized to face the day. I struggle with making my schedule too full to take the time for a break." You're most welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah, and so often when we take these moments of pause, we actually find that we come out with more energy. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's quite the opposite. Sometimes we realize how tired we are and how much more rest we need. And sometimes, giving ourselves that moment of pause gives us the capacity to then step out into the day. So often we think that we can get the most done just by doing, 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 doing. Um, but I really believe it's about balancing and activity and non-doing or non-activity, um, and discerning when either doing or non-doing is would be a most of service to us as a whole being, because we do need both. We're humans that you know live on this planet and engage with others and work and do these things, but being able to discern between when we need rest, and to sink into presence, and when we are called to put ourselves out into the world, or to think. The thinking mind has offers us so many wonderful tools. So um, this practice is certainly not to make thinking or planning bad or wrong, but just to give ourselves permission to balance, because I would assume that most of us tend more towards overthinking and overdoing within the thinking mind. Um, so yeah. Nancy on YouTube said, "Beautiful, relaxing, excellent break from work. Thank you so much." Yeah, so we people joining in here were in all different locations. So some are in the middle of their work days, like you, Nancy. Some are just beginning their days. Mine is, well, it's not. It's wrapping up. It's approaching 7 p.m. Um, but this is a wonderful type of practice to do during the workday. And it doesn't have to be this long. It doesn't have to be. I guess this was maybe 25 minutes or so, 25 minutes, give or take. Um, but we can just take pause for 3 mindful breaths, or for 60 seconds. Um, Even if we have this remind, if we remember to take pause, we can set an alarm on our phone for 60 seconds, in the middle of the day, and just give ourselves that time and space just to breathe. That, I think, that can be so helpful. So often we think that, to meditate or to take pause in a meaningful or proper way, we have to commit to, you know we all have different time frames that we think is the right amount of time to meditate or mindfully pause. But we can take these pauses for just a few minutes at a time. It doesn't have to be elaborate, it doesn't have to be lengthy. um, and in fact, I do believe that shorter practices that we do more often, in the long run, have have a more lasting, more sustainable impact um, on our well-being. Because if we do, the more often that we do these types of practices, that we take pause, even if for short periods of time, the more they become ingrained into our way of being, and the more they will naturally lengthen, typically, is what I find. So I'm glad, Nancy, that this was a nice break in your workday. It was a nice pause for me as well before dinner time. Um, yeah, Deb on Facebook said thank you. And Karen said yes. I think that was to what I said earlier, something I said earlier. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I would love to know. I do these every Thursday, and if there's any specific topics you feel drawn to related to mindfulness, that you would like to explore through some type of mindfulness meditation or heart-based meditation practice, feel free to also let me know. In the past, I've done forgiveness meditation, self-compassion, compassion for the body, connecting with the earth. Earth-based practices are one of my favorites. I feel this natural connection to the earth, as I think so many of us do. And so really being mindful of our connection to the earth and our natural, innate interconnection to everything that is, I think, is a really beautiful practice for just coming home to ourselves and to our existence. So that might be a practice that I do another time again. So yeah, but if there's anything that you'd like to talk about or explore in a meditation, please let me know. You can share in the chat, but I'd also love if anybody is interested in connecting beyond these sessions. I mentioned this last week, but we do have a free online mindfulness community where you can join us and just chat, say hello, and you can connect with me there. So I just shared the link to YouTube and Facebook, and I'm just posting it now in LinkedIn. So yeah, you can feel free to connect with me there. But Michael says, how about sitting with our thoughts? Yeah, I think mindfulness of thoughts is an invaluable practice, and something that I think is tricky for a lot of people to do without guidance, because it can be quite slippery to make that distinction between noticing our thoughts and then potentially getting caught up in them. So that's a wonderful topic that I will add to the list of things to explore. I guess just one technique I can mention right away that has helped me when I found myself caught up in unproductive or unsupportive or emotionally stirring thoughts. And I've done this in formal meditation and also in informal practice. So just if I'm out and I'm just find myself caught up in certain thoughts that aren't supporting me, is to note the energy of the thought that is present. So when a thought comes or a thought stream comes, seeing if you can simply note, for instance, planning. worrying, ruminating, mm, judging. And I find by doing this, at least for me, that sort of takes it it sort of takes the power away from the thought. So rather than um, just becoming caught up in the stream and the story itself, it helps me to be an observer, to recognize that there is an energy here, and to sort of create space from, again, the story of whatever that thought might contain. So that's one thing I do. Another thing that just comes up to mention is self-compassion. When we talk about sitting with our thoughts, there's all sorts of thoughts we can be mindful of. There's pleasant thoughts. There's thoughts that bring us joy or excitement. And these are absolutely worth sitting with and seeing if we can note them, and also notice the energy behind them. So maybe there's yearning, or there could also be this energy of escape. So wanting to escape the present moment into some vision we might have for the future. But often when we talk about sitting with our thoughts, often it's the difficult ones that that pose a lot of difficulty in being with. And I find self-compassion is incredibly valuable when we're experiencing these types of thoughts, be they sadness or anger or jealousy or whatever they might be. Just reminding ourselves that these thoughts that we have are part of humanity, and giving ourselves the care that we would give to someone that we love, if they were struggling with certain thoughts, such as these ones. So anyways, that's just a few initial thoughts that I have about thoughts. But yeah, I will add that to my list of practices to explore and topics to explore. So thank you, Michael. And Sue said thank you on LinkedIn. Wonderful. So if you need to head out right now, you can, but I would love for us just to take 1 to 2 minutes of pause together, just, to re-ground before we head back out into activity. So if you would like to join me for that, just again, coming into a comfortable position, maybe shaking out any tightness, lengthening your spine, letting your shoulders drop. And for just a few moments, letting yourself just be here. For this breath, there is no one you need to be. For this breath, there is nothing you need to do. Seeing if you can open your heart to savor this sacred pause. Maybe resting a hand on your heart, connecting with your heart for one sweet moment. Noticing the surface that continues to support you, the earth that continues to support you, and slowly opening your eyes whenever you're ready. So thank you all once again for joining. I hope this was helpful for you. Um, I will be back here next Thursday. So I'd love to connect with whoever would like to join again then. Michael, I see you said one more, practicing around physical pain. That's a really great topic. And on that topic, just maybe it was a month ago, a month and a half ago, we had Orange Sofer join us for join our mindfulness meditation teacher training program for a session on mindfulness for chronic pain. And there was a lot of really great insights that he shared. So I think, there's quite a few videos that would be worth watching on this. I can definitely add this to the list as well, of things to explore on these Thursdays. But if you head to our YouTube channel, and I'm adding that in the LinkedIn chat as well, and in the Facebook and YouTube comment section as well. But if in the search section you search Orange Sofer, you'll find some of his highlights from the session on working with chronic pain. So yeah, a wonderful topic to explore as well, since so many people struggle with pain. So thank you again. Thank you, Carla from Nebraska. This is very calming, beautiful. So I wish everyone a beautiful rest of your day, whether you're just beginning your day, you're halfway through it, or you're approaching the end of this day. And my invitation is to see where you can take more moments of pause, even if just for a few breaths. So thank you all so much, and I will see some of you again here next Thursday. Take care. Bye.